Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas into simple, actionable insights. Today, we're going to tackle a really simple technique that can help you quiet that racing mind and hopefully unlock a much better night's sleep. You know the feeling, right? You're lying in bed, it's 2 a.m., you're exhausted, but your mind is just buzzing with to-do lists, little worries, and oh yeah, that one email you completely forgot to send. It is so frustrating when your brain just refuses to switch off. I like to call this the 2 a.m. overthink, and if that sounds familiar, believe me, you are not alone. This is actually one of the biggest reasons people struggle to fall asleep. It happens when our brains are just, well, completely overloaded. I mean, think about this. Our brains are constantly sifting through a gigantic amount of information every single day. And if we don't have a system to manage all that stuff, our mind just stays in work mode, even when we're trying to sleep. It just keeps looping through the same thoughts, trying its best not to forget anything important, which is the exact opposite of what we need to relax. But what if I told you there was a really simple technique to declutter your mind? Something that works almost like clearing the cache on your computer, signaling to your brain that it's finally safe to power down for the night. Well, there is, and it's called a brain dump. It's this super powerful, really low-tech way to get all those thoughts that are swirling around out of your head and onto a piece of paper. You're basically giving your brain permission to finally rest. And I absolutely love this analogy because it's so true. It's exactly like having way too many tabs open in your browser. A brain dump is your way of methodically going through and closing each and every one of those tabs until your mind is quiet and can just focus on one thing: sleep. Now, it's really important to get this distinction. This isn't the same as journaling. You know, journaling is usually about self-reflection and going deep. A brain dump is all about speed and just volume. The goal isn't to analyze anything, it's simply to get it out. Get it out of your head as fast as you possibly can. And look, this isn't just some nice, feel-good wellness idea. There is actual science that explains why this really simple habit is so incredibly effective at calming down a busy mind. See, when you write your thoughts down, you're doing something psychologists call cognitive offloading. You're literally freeing up precious mental bandwidth. You're telling your brain, hey, this info is safe, it's stored somewhere else, you don't have to keep juggling it anymore. A big reason this works is because of something called the Zeigarnik effect. It's this fascinating little quirk in our brains where we are just hardwired to obsess over things that are unfinished. That's why that one task you didn't quite finish today is screaming for your attention at midnight. So here's the magic trick. By writing a task down, especially a specific one, you kind of trick your brain. It starts to treat that task as handled, at least for now. And that's what releases the mental tension and breaks that frustrating worry loop that's keeping you wide awake. And hey, this isn't just theory. Get this. A study from Baylor University found that people who spent just 5 minutes writing a specific to-do list before bed fell asleep on average 9 minutes faster. 9 minutes! For a tiny 5-minute habit, that is a huge return on your investment. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how can I actually do this tonight? Well, it's incredibly simple. Let's just walk through a couple of really easy methods. So one really effective way comes from author Ellie Middleton. She breaks it down into 4 simple steps. First, you start with gratitude. That helps shift you into a more positive state. Then, you list out your must-do tasks for tomorrow. After that, you capture all those someday projects that are just taking up mental space. And finally, you have a catch-all for any other random thoughts. But let's be real. Some nights, even a 4-step process can feel like a lot of work. If you're just feeling completely wiped out, don't worry, there's a super low-effort alternative you can try. It's called the Brain Dump Reset. You just set a timer for 2 minutes and write, nonstop. Don't worry about spelling, don't organize it, just let everything flow out onto the page. Then, and this part is key, you physically release it. Rip up the paper or close the file. It's a symbolic act of just letting it all go. And the payoff for this little habit? It goes way beyond just falling asleep faster. It can actually have a pretty amazing ripple effect on your entire next day. See, when you clear out your mental clutter on a regular basis, you're not just setting yourself up for good sleep. You're also walking into tomorrow with less anxiety and a sharper focus. You literally create more space for creative ideas. You make better decisions because you're not juggling a million things. It's a real game changer. Ultimately, this quote right here just captures the entire idea perfectly. Your brain isn't meant to be a messy storage unit. Its job is to think, to create, to solve problems, and doing a brain dump lets it do exactly that. You know, taking back control of your mental space and your nights can be as simple as this little 5-minute practice. It's such a small habit, but it can have a huge impact. So the only question left is, what are you going to put on the page tonight?